Yo, what is up everyone? Tachi here. So we are going to be going through these spec banners, but I will just be going through them pretty quickly just so that, we don't waste too much time here. As you guys can see here on the magic banner, we are probably, some of the stuff could change. They only announced the first weapon that shows up, which is this one. So any of these two weapons on pretty much any banner could change at any time. In JP, they did get Mechanical Spear here as a rerun basically. So this could perhaps be an opportunity to MLB your Mechanical Spear if you are in MDPS. And in terms of the other weapons, the only complaint I have for this is that I don't like that the stats on the weapons are even. I'm personally not a big fan of that. Even though their overall stat is high, I would have liked them to be more focused on their main stats. That being said, I would still pull on this banner anyways. It's kind of tough for me because if Mechanical Spear does come on this banner, I might get spooked, which kind of sucks because I don't need Mechanical Spear. Hopefully the 2 out of 3 chance is enough. If not, I mean, I guess I can use it as skill fodder, but fuck, I'd rather not. This stuff though, I mean, it's just good. It's just fine. It's fine in general. Overall, I think this banner, obviously, if you are an MDPS or if you are Half Nightmare, obviously just pull on this banner. Either Half Nightmare for your spears, especially. But if you're not, I mean, if you're bow, that's still fine as well. It's 1 out of 3, but I mean, at least if you get spears, you can use it in your subgrid or something. Moving on to the next one, we are going to be looking at the instruments. Now this one is the main one, which for sure we know it's coming out, and it's probably the best one here in terms of stats, in my personal opinion, and in terms of skill. It is going to be M attack to 2 targets, support wound 2, so that just by itself alone, even if all the other ones suck, that is worth pulling on. The next one is going to be Violin of Scales, increase physical and magical defense to 2 allies, so 2 stat 2 target, also very good. And then the final one is P defense to 1.5. Not as good as the other two, but it's still really good. Just automatic pull. There's pretty much no reason if you're a minstrel to not pull on this banner. Especially for this weapon right here. I hope that every single minstrel saved up and is going to get this because it's really going to be very useful for your M attack DPS, which I assume you probably have a couple of. We're going to look at books. I'm fairly certain that this book is already in the game, Night Journal. Or I'm pretty sure there's another book that's Night something that looks very similar. So let's take a look at the first book. It's going to be P defense to 2 enemies. You guys kind of know, like, in terms of priorities, I think P defense is probably my 4th priority, which makes it not too high because obviously there's magic defense down, then magic attack down, and then I would prefer physical attack down over physical defense. And the reason why I prefer physical attack over physical defense down, it just comes down to one. First of all, from a guild perspective, I only have 2 physical DPS in my guild. And more importantly, if my enemy has physical DPS, most of the time, especially up against the guilds that we fight against, it's usually whales. So, if they are running those DC grids with the physical weapons and whatnot, I would prefer to have their attack down as opposed to letting our DPS do slightly more damage. You know what I mean? I would just prefer them to not fucking kill me as opposed to doing slightly more damage with just 2 out of 5 people. Everyone has their own priorities, just, you know, you never know. This one, obviously physical attack down, 1 target, kind of a bit of a shame there. Oh man, if this was another weapon that's physical attack to 2 targets or even 1.5, that would have been great. And then this one is again physical defense to 2 targets as well. So it's pretty much the same skill as this one, which is kind of fucking weird to have 2 that do the exact same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't really like the books that came out here, even though they have decent skills. And that just comes down to all of them being physical related. And we are currently in a magic meta, and we are not going to be shifting anytime soon. Even when Crusher comes out, I don't think that we're just going to suddenly see everyone shifting over to physical meta. So, like, it'll wane down the magic DPS, but right now the vast majority of guilds are mostly magic. Usually at least 3 people. Typically their strongest is usually a Half Nightmare unless they're whaling, in which case they're probably running the 20 DC grid. But other than whales, pretty much it's just like 180 to 190 something K half nightmare Alice's. So I would prefer if like one of these was magic attack down or magic defense down, but it is what it is, I guess. Moving on to the next weapons, which are going to be staves. I think we already have this one here. I'm not 100% sure though. This is going to be a 2-target heal, increases magic attack, which is already really fucking good. With RS2, pretty much automatic pull. Also very good stats, 760 each for each defense, which is very high. Wise Man is slightly lower in terms of defense. It is a 1-target. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of 1-targets, but I know that some people like them. For me, I just prefer 1.5 and 2, and it just comes down to the fact that if we are dying and I really need heals, 3 healers is not going to be able to out heal 5 DPS. It's just not going to happen. All I need them to do is to be able to bring us up fast enough that we won't actually die. And with single target staves, with 3 people using single target staves, you're just not going to be able to keep up. You will die. But if you're running 2 target staves, you have a chance of being able to survive the damage. And it's not that you're healing more, and it's just that you're healing fast enough and enough people that you have the opportunity to actually revive at all. You know what I mean? Because there's 5 DPS. So I just personally, when it comes to situations where you need healing a lot, I just personally think that 1.5 and 2 target heals just heal better or more efficiently. And this is going to be a tier 3 heal too. I'm not sure if that means that the ratio is lower, but typically if it does come with one of these, something that increases whatever, typically the ratio on the actual heal itself is a bit lower. It's like a trade-off, I guess. And then this is going to be a 1.5 target heal. So, I mean, just the fact that there's a 2 target and a 1.5 target, and they're all recovery support, is already enough for you to pull on this if you are a cleric. Move on to the next one, which is going to be swords. Other than orbs, which is just a Pepega banner, this is probably the worst out of the bunch in terms of banners. I think this might actually be worse than the books. And the reason why is because it has the same problem as the spears. It has the even stats. And worst of all is that this sword here is like available at all. The fact that one of these weapons is P attack debuff instead of DC, just kind of shit. Now, of course, they could change this. I don't know. But at least at the time of recording, they have only released the first weapon. So I literally have no idea what the other 2 weapons are going to be. It's pretty much up in the air. I saw someone said speculation, I guess. I'm not sure where they got the info from. But they said that it might be a spell sword. I don't know if spell sword is DC, but I think it is. Instead of this one. Not 100% sure though, but I mean, the axe is fine. I mean, 2200 is not too bad. It's not too great. It's just like, I guess it's slightly above average, if anything. Kind of low in stats. You saw low 5200 is kind of shit. And then obviously you have this sword at almost 6700 in total. But the P attack is not all too high. It just has a bunch of M attack. So in terms of usage on a physical grid, I mean, you would slot it in anyways just because it's DC, but it probably is going to be like, if you're running swords, it's probably going to be one of the first ones that you do get rid of in terms of the DC weapons that you do have. And it's just because I think this is probably one of the lower attack DC weapons that are in the game right now. I think. I'm not 100% sure about that. You know, we can even check. So it's not the lowest. The lowest is Gold Sword, although we already knew Gold Sword was kind of ass. It is, for some reason, mostly magic. And then also Shameless Ambition is at 2093. And then Virtuous is about the same as it. So there's currently 2 other DC swords that are lower, and one that's about the same, slightly higher. So yeah, it's probably going to be one of the first ones that you do get rid of out of your grid. At least I think so. Oh, and then there you see Swordsmith Spellbook. It is DC2 apparently, but yeah. Just in terms of the banner, I mean, I don't really like the fact that you can get spooked by the P attack debuff, but that's just going to have to be something you guys decide whether or not you care about. Personally, I would probably still pull on it if I was a physical DPS, but it would scare the shit out of me if I didn't have that many crystals, especially because, you know, spec banners don't have guarantees. So if you get unlucky, you might not get shit. So it's kind of ass. I guess best case scenario is that you get the DCs, but the worst case is you get nothing, and the second worst case is that you just get this fucking trash ass weapon. So Not sure how I feel about that. And then the final banner is obviously going to be the orbs. I mean, I guess you guys are going to get a little bit closer to being able to run mage DPS efficiently, but it's mage DPS, so no. How about that? Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you guys want to see future content. For now, though, I am out. Have a nice day.